There comes a moment in every life when the silence is deafening. You've prayed, you've imagined, you've felt it real, and yet nothing. But I tell you now, do not mistake silence for denial. When the senses go quiet, it is not because heaven has turned its back. No, it is because heaven is preparing your miracle in sacred stillness. God is not noisy. God moves beneath the surface. The absence of sound is not the absence of movement. When you hear nothing, that is the moment you must expect everything. Close your eyes for a moment. What have you asked for? Love, wealth, healing, peace. If you've dared to see it in your imagination, if you felt it in your bones as already yours, then it is done. Even if the phone doesn't ring, even if the door doesn't open, even if the bank account still says zero, you must know it is already unfolding. You are not waiting on God, God is waiting on your certainty. The world may not echo your desires back to you right away, but this means nothing, because creation begins within. Your inner world is always the first to receive the blessing. And that's why silence outside is a signal, not of delay, but of delivery. The farmer who plants the seed does not return the next day and dig it up in worry. He waters it. He trusts the soil. He walks away in confidence. Can you do the same? When your prayers seem to return unanswered, assume they were already answered the moment they were spoken. Because God doesn't work with human time. God works in divine order, and divine order always includes your highest good. There's no need to panic, no need to rush, no need to beg. Just know, if it lives vividly in your imagination, it is already yours. If the outside is silent, let the inside roar with conviction. Walk like it's done, smile like it's yours, rest like it's already here. The silence is sacred, the stillness is holy, because when you hear nothing, that's when everything is coming. So be still, expect the impossible, and receive in peace. It is done. When it seems that nothing is happening, when the doors remain closed and the heavens seem quiet, it is easy to fall into the belief that you've been forgotten or ignored. But silence is not absence. It is preparation. It is in these quiet moments, the ones you are tempted to dismiss, where the greatest miracles are being formed. You must understand that just because you do not see movement with your physical eyes does not mean there is no movement at all. The visible is only a shadow of the invisible. Reality begins in the unseen. What you call silence is often the most sacred moment of creation. It is the divine rearranging, positioning, and aligning the right people, places, and events in ways your conscious mind cannot yet comprehend. Think of the seed planted beneath the soil. It lies in darkness. It makes no noise. There is no applause. But beneath the earth, something beautiful is unfolding. The roots stretch, the stem strengthens, and soon the first signs of life break through. That silence was not inactivity, it was preparation for life to emerge. And so it is with your desires. The moment you ask, the answer begins to form. But between the asking and the receiving is the sacred hush, the divine pause where you are not to panic, but to rest. You are not being ignored, you are being readied. All things are working together, not against you, but for you. But here's where many lose heart. They associate silence with being forgotten. They think God's quiet means God's denial. They begin to doubt, to retract their belief, to uproot what they have planted with fear. And yet, those who trust the silence understand this deeper truth, that the stillness is where strength is born. Let your imagination do the work. Let your faith take root in the unseen. Trust that what you have asked for is on its way, not because the world tells you so, but because the Spirit within has confirmed it. The silence is not the end, it is the midpoint. It is the holy ground where your desire is maturing. So when you hear nothing, feel everything. When the world is still, let your heart beat with quiet confidence. The silence is not absence, it is divine orchestration in motion. Expect more, not less, in the quiet. Because when heaven is silent, it is only because it is busy preparing your miracle. Your imagination is not a fantasy, it is the first stage of creation. What you consistently feel and see within is what is becoming real, whether or not your outer world shows any sign of it. The imagination is the blueprint, the unseen pattern from which your life is being shaped. It is the silent yet powerful evidence of what is already yours, even if your five senses are still catching up. Many people rely on external proof before they believe something is possible. They wait for confirmation from the world, through numbers, results, or the opinions of others. But creation doesn't begin on the outside, it starts within. It begins the moment you dare to believe in something no one else can see but you. When the world is quiet and reality gives no indication that things are changing, your imagination becomes your anchor. It is the inner sanctuary where your desire lives and breathes long before it takes physical form. This is not about wishful thinking, it is about living inwardly as though it were already true. When you walk by inner vision, not by sight, you are walking by faith, and faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. What are you seeing in your mind? What feelings do you nurture when you close your eyes and step into the unseen? If it is lack, fear, or worry, those emotions will find their way into your life. But if it is joy, gratitude, and certainty, your world will begin to echo those same tones. The world outside mirrors the state of your inner world. Nothing appears until it is first imagined. You may not realize it, but you are already living in a world shaped by previous imaginings, both conscious and unconscious. This is why it is vital to become intentional, to see what you want as already yours, to feel the result before it arrives. Because once something is fully accepted within, the outer must conform. It has no choice. There is no greater tool you have than your imagination. It is the invisible canvas where all things are painted before they manifest. Every invention, every breakthrough, every love story began first in someone's imagination. It is not a place of escape. It is the foundation of all creation. So when the world is quiet, when the outside says nothing is happening, turn inward. See what is unseen. Feel what is yet to be touched. Trust what your imagination shows you, because what you continually accept and embody in that sacred space is what must come alive in your world. Faith does not begin in the realm of the visible. It begins where the senses stop. When you can no longer rely on sight, sound, or touch to confirm your desire, that is the precise moment faith is born. Faith is not required when everything is going your way, when the evidence is laid out clearly before you. No, faith rises in the absence of evidence. It thrives in the unseen, the unknown, the uncertain. If you cannot see it, hear it, or touch it, good, that is your invitation to believe more deeply. When the world grows quiet and you receive no sign or confirmation, your belief must become louder than your doubt. It is in this stillness, this sensory void, that you must choose to walk by the unseen and not be led astray by appearances. The world trains us to believe only in what we can measure. But the greatest truths, the ones that change lives, are not found in data but in trust. Faith says, though I see nothing, I know it is done. Though I feel no change, I know it is moving. Though I hear no reply, I know I have been answered. This is not blind belief, it is active conviction. It is the conscious decision to align yourself with the end result before it arrives, to feel peace before the problem is solved, to live with joy before the breakthrough is visible. The world may call it foolish, but heaven calls it powerful. Many abandon their desires too soon because their senses do not support their vision. They mistake the silence for rejection. They begin to doubt what they once believed. But the one who stands firm in faith, even when the world is silent, becomes unstoppable. Because faith, when held long enough, bends reality to match the inner vision. Understand this deeply. The quieter your surroundings become, the more vital your belief becomes. You must become the voice of certainty in the midst of silence. You must speak what no one else is saying, feel what no one else dares to feel, expect what others call impossible. That is faith. So when your eyes cannot see the answer, when your ears hear nothing, when your hands touch only the same old reality, do not retreat. Step further into belief. Declare it done. Claim it with the fullness of your heart. Because faith does not ask permission from the senses. It creates what the senses cannot yet perceive. And when faith is fully alive within you, the world has no choice but to rearrange itself around your conviction. Delay is one of the greatest illusions we face when walking by faith. The human mind, trained to measure time by clocks and calendars, often interprets silence or waiting as rejection. But in the realm of the divine, there is no such thing as delay, only perfect alignment. What you call nothing is not God ignoring you. It is God arranging everything for the exact moment it must arrive. The delay is divine timing, not denial. You may not see it, but behind the stillness is a sacred orchestration. The right people, opportunities, and circumstances are being moved into position. The threads are being woven together to form something far greater than you imagine. But like a painting viewed too closely, you cannot yet see the masterpiece. You only see the blur. And so you assume nothing is happening. But God never works in haste. Divine timing is about rightness, not rush. You must begin to trust the pause. When it seems like your prayers go unanswered, understand. The answer is being prepared. What you call a delay may actually be protection. You may be asking for something your present self is not yet ready to carry. Or perhaps the people involved in your manifestation are still evolving, still being shaped to meet you in the right form. Think of the caterpillar. It does not emerge from the cocoon in minutes. It must endure darkness, stillness, isolation. But in that sacred delay, transformation is happening. Wings are forming. Beauty is becoming. If the cocoon is opened too soon, the butterfly dies. Timing is everything, and so it is with you. If you demand the blessing before it's ready, you may receive something partial, something premature. But if you trust the process, if you wait with faith rather than fear, you will witness a miracle delivered in full maturity. This is why patience is not weakness, it is power. It is the quiet strength that says, even though I see no movement, I know it's coming. You do not need to force it. You only need to remain in alignment with the end. Feel the outcome as real. Rest in the knowing that God is not late, He is exact. So the next time you feel delayed, do not despair. Instead, whisper to yourself, this is divine timing. My answer is on its way. What you call nothing is the space where everything is being arranged. And when it comes, it will not just arrive, it will arrive right on time, carrying more than you dared to ask for. There is a deep peace that comes when you finally understand this truth. You are the vessel, not the source. You were never meant to carry the burden of making everything happen. The moment you believe you must force, chase, or strive for your desires, you have stepped out of alignment with the divine flow. Creation does not require pressure, it requires surrender. The power working through you is far greater than the effort coming from you. You are not the origin of the miracle. You are simply the channel through which it is expressed. Like a lamp that shines because of the electricity flowing through it, your light is not your own doing. Your job is not to be the power, but to remain connected to it. When you realize this, all striving becomes unnecessary. You begin to live from a place of ease, knowing that what is meant for you is flowing to you, not because of your labor, but because of your alignment. This is not about passivity, it is about trust. It is about allowing yourself to receive, rather than exhausting yourself trying to control. Expect everything not because you are worthy in the eyes of the world, but because you are willing to believe. You are willing to let the divine express itself through your life, without interference, without panic, without resistance. There is no lack in the source. There is no limitation. So if the source lives in you, why would you ever doubt that your needs can be met? You only doubt when you think you must be the one to figure it all out. You only worry when you forget who is truly in control. The universe moves in precision and grace. You are part of that movement. You are the field where the seed is planted. The seed grows not because the soil tries harder, but because it allows. The soil holds the seed in stillness and faith, knowing that life will emerge through it. Let this be your posture. Rest, receive, trust. Let go of needing to chase what is already on its way. You are not here to manufacture miracles. You are here to make space for them. So release the weight of control. Expect everything, not because you're forcing it, but because it's already being done. Through your belief, your willingness, your inner stillness, the impossible is being made possible. And all you must do is remain open, because you are the vessel, not the source. And the source never fails. Once you have asked, it is done. This is the foundation of true faith. To move, speak, and live as though the prayer has already been answered. Not in some distant future, not when the signs finally appear, but now. This is not about pretending. It is about knowing that what you have asked for is already on its way, even if your physical senses have no proof to offer. Most people pray and then wait. They wait for a sign, a shift, some confirmation that they have been heard. But waiting in anxiety is not faith. It is fear wearing a spiritual mask. True expectation is quiet, confident, and unwavering. It does not beg for reassurance, because it knows the answer was given the moment the request was made. Your role is not to question how or when. It is to assume the end result, to feel the joy, the relief, the peace of your answered prayer in the present moment. Because when you do, you are not hoping for it, you are embodying it. And what you embody must be reflected in your world. You must become the sign. If you prayed for healing, carry yourself with the energy of wholeness. If you prayed for love, move as one who is already cherished. If you prayed for abundance, act as one who knows their needs are already met. This is not delusion, it is alignment. It is the bold, silent language of faith that the world cannot understand, but the universe must obey. Everything changes when you stop waiting and start walking in the reality you desire. The waiting room turns into the delivery room. Life begins to reflect back to you what you believe, not what you beg for. Stillness is your superpower. It says, I am already in possession of that which I have asked for. I have no need to chase it. I only need to continue being in harmony with it. This kind of stillness is not passive, it is powerful. It does not mean doing nothing. It means doing everything with the awareness that the prayer is fulfilled. So drop the worry. Let go of the anxiety that whispers, what if it doesn't happen? It has happened. In the unseen, it is already yours. You are not trying to attract it, you are welcoming it. Live from the end. Think from the outcome. Feel as though the prayer has already touched your life. Because once you asked, it was done. Now your only task is to believe it, feel it, and walk in it. Not tomorrow, today. Even when your world is silent, even when no signs appear, even when it feels as though heaven is quiet, expect everything. Because what you call stillness is sacred movement. What you call delay is divine timing. What you cannot hear or see is already being formed in the unseen, waiting only for your belief to align with it. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared. Your faith is not wasted, it is working. And when you dare to live as though the prayer is already answered, the invisible becomes visible, the imagined becomes real, and the impossible becomes your truth. So don't retreat in the silence, rise in it. Don't doubt when nothing appears, declare that everything is already yours. Expect not with fear, but with quiet certainty. For when you hear nothing from the world, it's because heaven is working in ways you cannot yet see. And that is where the miracle lives. Thank you for listening. Thank you for opening your heart. May your faith grow stronger in the silence, and may your expectations rise higher than your fears. Everything is already unfolding for you. Now walk in peace and expect the extraordinary. Close your eyes. Let the outer world dissolve. Let the facts, the noise, the waiting, all fade away. What remains is you and your imagination. And here's the secret. If you can feel it as done, then it is. You don't manifest with effort, you manifest with being. What you assume yourself to be inwardly, you express outwardly. This is not philosophy, it is law. The law of consciousness, unbreakable and exact. So ask yourself now, can you feel the end? Not wish for it, not long for it, but truly feel it as if it has already happened. The desire fulfilled, the prayer answered, the dream realized. There is no power outside you giving or withholding anything. Your inner world is the only cause. All things obey the feeling that dominates your inner space. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. You are not asking the world to change, you are assuming it already has. And that assumption, when felt deeply and lived sincerely, compels the outer to mirror it. You are not hoping, you are not pleading, you are knowing. And knowing is the creative act. Begin now to live from the end, not toward it, not waiting for it, from it. You want love? Be the one who is already cherished. You want wealth? Walk as one who already has more than enough. You want healing? Move as one already whole. This feeling is the seed, and your world is the fertile soil. But it will not grow while you keep digging it up with doubt or water it with desperation. It grows when you rest, when you trust. And above all, when you stop trying to make it happen and instead you dwell in the state where it has already happened. That is the manifestation key. Feel it done and you shall see it done. Not by might, not by effort, but by the silent power of assumption. The world bends to the inner man who dares to say, it is already so. And when that man walks the earth as though it were already true, the world has no choice but to follow. Be still now and feel it. It is done. Every desire you've ever had was not a call to action, but a call to assume. The world in all its shapes and changes does not respond to pleading or longing. It does not yield to effort alone. It bends to assumption, the quiet inner knowing that what you seek is already yours. There is a secret embedded in the fabric of reality. You are always assuming something, whether consciously or unconsciously, and these assumptions are not passive thoughts. They are living beliefs clothed in feeling. When you say, "This is who I am," and you feel it to be so, you move mountains unseen. Life then doesn't give you what you ask for with your lips. It gives you what you claim with your inner certainty. To assume something is not to daydream about it or to wish for it. It is to inhabit it as though it were real. It is to close your eyes and feel the chair beneath you, though the chair has not yet appeared. It is to walk through the world not with empty hands, but with the full heart of someone who already possesses their desire. When a man assumes he is healthy despite appearances of illness, and he remains loyal to that assumption, not just once but persistently, something changes. His body, his cells, his chemistry begin to shift in harmony with that inner belief. And when a woman assumes she is deeply loved, though the outer world may not show it, her experience begins to mirror that state in ways that defy logic. Why? Because the outer world is nothing more than a mirror held up to your inner state. People often say, "I'll believe it when I see it," but this is the very reversal of the truth. In this realm of consciousness, you see it because you believe it. The assumption comes first, the evidence follows. To assume is to plant the seed. The manifestation is merely the unfolding of that seed in the garden of life. But many do not know they are assuming. They think they are reacting to life. They do not see that life is reacting to them. A man who assumes he is always unlucky will find misfortune on every corner, not because life is cruel, but because life is obedient. It takes the mold of your assumption and pours itself into it. If your mold is brokenness, life will show you pieces. If your mold is wholeness, life will show you completion. Assumption works in silence. It does not shout, it does not fight, it simply is. It carries the power of creation without lifting a single finger. The one who truly assumes does not chase, he does not beg, he does not force. He enters the state of the wish fulfilled and dwells there, confidently and quietly, as though the promise has already been kept. You must ask yourself not "what do I want?" but "what am I assuming right now?" Are you assuming that you'll always struggle, that you're not good enough, that things never work out for you? If so, the world must echo that belief. But if you dare to assume that everything is working in your favor, even when your senses scream otherwise, something remarkable happens. The world begins to reflect that faith. This is the mystery. To assume is to create. You have no need to convince anyone, to manipulate, to push the pieces into place. All you must do is choose the state you wish to live in, assume it fully, feel it deeply, and let life catch up. You are the operant power, and your assumption is the key. When you assume the best and live from that end, the best must appear, not by chance, but by law. There is an invisible bridge between the world you imagine and the world you experience, and that bridge is feeling. Thought alone is not enough. Words, no matter how poetic or powerful, do not create unless they are charged with emotion. It is what you feel deeply that shapes the fabric of your reality. Feeling is the alchemy that transforms the unseen. Every creation begins in the invisible. A desire stirs in the quiet depths of your mind, but that desire cannot manifest unless it is felt into being. Emotion gives it life. It is the spiritual substance that clothes the formless with form. Without feeling, desire remains a shadow, an idea, not a reality. The world is not moved by logic, it is moved by energy, and emotion is concentrated energy. When you feel something strongly, whether joy, fear, gratitude, or sorrow, you are broadcasting that frequency into the field of life. And this field is not indifferent. It responds to the vibration of your inner state. What you feel, you attract. What you sustain emotionally, you embody. And what you embody, you experience. You may say, I want success. But if you feel doubt or anxiety or unworthiness, then it is not success you are calling in. It is resistance. You are crossing the bridge of feeling in the wrong direction. The outer world cannot help but reflect the truth of your inner emotional atmosphere. So the key is not to simply think positively or repeat affirmations like a machine. The key is to enter the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Imagine what it would be like if your desire were already yours, and then dare to feel that now. The joy, the relief, the peace, the gratitude. That feeling is the doorway. That feeling is the bridge. It carries you from longing to fulfillment. Not someday, but this is why children often manifest so easily. They imagine vividly and feel without resistance. They do not question whether what they feel is possible. They simply step into the scene in their mind and feel it is real. And life responds accordingly. The adult, on the other hand, hesitates, doubts, rationalizes. But the law remains the same. What you feel deeply, you make real. Every outcome you have experienced, good or bad, has been traced back to a feeling. The feeling of being unwanted becomes the experience of rejection. The feeling of being supported becomes the experience of abundance. It does not matter what appears to be happening outside of you. What matters is the emotional blueprint you hold within. When you deliberately choose to feel the end result, even when the senses show otherwise, you are shifting timelines. You are moving from the known to the unknown, from possibility to certainty. You are no longer hoping, you are knowing. And that knowing, felt in the heart, becomes the cause of all future events. Do not wait for the world to give you something to feel good about. That is not how this works. You must feel it first. And in feeling it, you set the wheels of reality in motion. Life will always meet you at the level of your emotion, not your intention. So ask yourself often, what am I feeling right now? Because that feeling is sending instructions to your world. If you want love, feel loved. If you want freedom, feel free. If you want success, feel successful. Not later, not after, but now. This is not pretending, this is creating. It is not about faking a mood. It is about aligning with the state where your desire already lives. Walk across the bridge. Don't just think it. Feel it. Because feeling is the bridge, and the only way to make the unseen become seen. You are not waiting to create. You are not creating only when you sit in meditation or speak words of affirmation. You are always creating. Every moment, every thought, every feeling is a brushstroke painting the canvas of your life. Whether you are conscious of it or not, your inner state is shaping your outer world. There is no pause. There is no off switch. The creative power within you is constant, and it responds faithfully to the energy you radiate. Your thoughts, when infused with feeling, are prayers, unspoken requests sent into the field of infinite possibility. But they are not just requests, they are commands, directives, seeds. Each thought, clothed in emotion, plants itself in the soil of consciousness. And what is planted must grow. What is felt must find form. The world around you is not happening to you, it is growing from you. This is why it is not enough to wish. A wish is often fleeting, half-hearted, filled with doubt. But a belief, a feeling, a deep inner conviction, That is power. That is the force that moves mountains. You may not even speak your desires aloud, yet if your heart is full of certainty, the outer world bends to it. And likewise, even if your mouth utters affirmations of abundance, but your soul is anxious or afraid, the world will reflect the fear, not the... Creation is not an event. It is a condition, a state of being. You are like a radio tower, constantly transmitting a signal. And that signal, formed by your dominant thoughts and feelings, determines what you attract and what you repel. It is not what you do in rare moments of concentration that shapes your life. It is who you are being in every ordinary moment. You cannot fool this process. You cannot fake this signal. Life responds to your real vibration, not the mask you wear or the words you rehearse. If you walk through the world with an inner posture of lack, the world echoes it back with absence. If you live with the quiet confidence that you are supported, chosen, and blessed, you'll begin to see signs of that truth manifesting everywhere. It is humbling to realize how much of our life is not chance, not fate, but the outpicturing of inner patterns. And it is empowering to know that at any moment you can shift your state and begin sowing new seeds. The question is not whether you are manifesting, the question is what you are manifesting. By what you continually dwell on, fear, imagine, and feel. A man who lives in constant worry is not only suffering emotionally, he is also cultivating a future shaped by that worry. A woman who silently carries the assumption that she is never chosen, never seen, is unknowingly authoring a reality where that remains true. These inner stories, repeated often and charged with emotion, become scripts for the world to act out. But when you awaken to this truth, you begin to choose differently. You begin to guard your inner state, not out of fear, but with reverence. You recognize that your imagination is sacred ground, and what you allow to take root there will soon show itself in your life. There is no neutral moment. Every second you are emitting, shaping, sculpting. You are always creating. So become deliberate. Begin to ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What am I assuming right now? And if the answer does not serve the life you desire, change it, shift it, replace it with a better seed. The world is a garden and your mind is the planter. Sow wisely, feel richly, imagine fully, and know that the harvest is not in someone else's hands. It is growing beneath your very feet, springing from the prayers you didn't even know you were praying. To live from the end is to become the embodiment of your desire fulfilled. It is not hoping, wishing, or waiting. It is being. It is the sacred shift from seeing your desire as something outside of you to knowing it as something already accomplished within you. You are no longer chasing after your dream. You are living as if it were already your truth. The common mistake many make is to dwell on their desires. They think of them often, speak about them, even daydream about them, but always from a place of distance. The desire remains something over there, separate and unreachable like a star in the sky. But to live from the end is to bring that star down and place it in your heart. It is to walk, speak, feel, and move as if that desire is already your present reality. When you live from the end, you do not ask, when will it come? That question vanishes because you are already in the state of possession. Time dissolves, lack disappears. What remains is the peace, the satisfaction, the certainty of fulfillment. You become one with the result, and when that union happens within, it must reveal itself without. This way of being is not about pretending. It's not about tricking the mind or acting for show. It is a deep inner conviction, a shift in consciousness. You are not hoping to be wealthy. You are wealth in form. You are not seeking love. You are love fulfilled. This inner identification is what magnetizes the outer experience to you. The world, in its obedient nature, rushes to mirror the truth you hold inside. Think of a person who has already received their heart's desire. How do they walk? How do they breathe? How do they carry themselves in the world? There is no strain, no grasping. There is grace. There is knowing. When you live from the end, you assume that identity, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. You no longer need proof because you have become the proof. This is the great paradox. When you stop looking for it and start living from it, it finds you. The person who feels unworthy will continue to experience rejection. The person who feels chosen will naturally be chosen. Why? Because the outer world simply reflects the inner world. It cannot help it. It does not argue, it echoes. So the question is not how do I make it happen? The true question is, can I inhabit the version of me where it's already happened? That version of you already exists in consciousness. You do not create it, you step into it. You occupy that mental home and claim it as yours. When doubt arises, when circumstances seem unchanged, return to the state. Re-enter the scene of the wish fulfilled. Feel it again, touch it again in imagination. Not as a dream, but as a memory. The mind does not know the difference between real and imagined, only what is felt. And what is consistently felt becomes fact. The greatest secret of creation is this: the end contains the path. When you assume the end as already done, life rearranges itself to bring it forth. You do not need to know the how or the when, you only need to know the what and feel that it is already so. Living from the end is not about doing more, it is about being more. Being the one who already is, already has, already knows. It is from that sacred state that miracles unfold, not because you force them, but because you align with them. Enter the end and remain there, and what you assumed will not delay. It must come because it is already yours. Detachment is not about giving up. It is not about becoming indifferent or careless. True detachment is trust, the kind of trust that allows you to step back, breathe deeply, and surrender the details to a higher intelligence. It is the sacred understanding that your job is not to construct the path brick by brick, but simply to feel the end result as real and let life orchestrate the unfolding. Most people block their manifestations not because they don't desire strongly enough, but because they grip too tightly. They obsess over the how, trying to figure out every step, worrying if they're doing it right. They fixate on the when, growing restless and anxious if it doesn't arrive on their schedule. But both of these mental habits arise from the same root: a lack of faith, a belief that it won't happen unless they push it into being. But that's not how creation works. Your mind is a powerful tool, but it was never meant to carry the weight of the entire process. Your true power lies in imagining the end and feeling it as already done. That is your work. That is the cause. The effect, the means, the method, the timing belongs to something far beyond your conscious control. It belongs to the unseen laws that govern all of life. When you try to force the how, you step out of your creative role and into a reactive one. You begin adjusting your vibration to match doubt instead of fulfillment. When you chase, you affirm that you don't yet have it. When you grow impatient, you declare that it's still missing. These inner declarations cancel the very thing you're trying to call in. Detachment then is not passivity. It's alignment. It is the quiet, confident stance of one who knows that what is imagined with feeling and consistency must become fact. Just as a seed planted in fertile soil will grow when left undisturbed, so too will your desire come to life when you allow it the space to unfold. The moment you have felt the end is real, The moment you have touched the state of the wish fulfilled, creation is complete. You don't need to repeat it 1,000 times or beg the universe to respond. You only need to remain faithful to that inner knowing and refuse to dig up the seed with doubt. Let the path reveal itself. Let life surprise you. Often the route your desire takes will look nothing like what your mind expected. It may come through people you've never met, opportunities you didn't anticipate, or events that seem unrelated. But if you insist on managing every detail, you may block the very blessings trying to reach you in unexpected ways. You are not here to figure it all out. You are here to feel it all real. You are here to dwell in the state of completion, and in that state, your world will reorganize itself. Detach from how, detach from when. Release the timeline. Let go of the urge to monitor progress, check the signs, or compare your journey to others. All of these things stem from fear, and fear creates resistance. Return daily to the feeling of the end. Bask in it, breathe it, own it, and then live your life with joy and openness, knowing that the wheels have already turned in your favor. When you truly let go, not with resignation, but with assurance, you make space for the unseen to work wonders, and in that space, creation becomes effortless, because you are no longer interfering. It is done. Your job is not to make it happen. Your job is to know that it is happening, even now, and to trust enough to let go. The world you see, touch, and move through each day is not random. It is a mirror, exact, responsive, and deeply personal. It reflects not your wishes, not your words alone, but the certainty you carry within. Before anything changes in the outer world, it must first shift in the inner realm of belief. That is where all true creation begins, with a quiet, unshakable knowing. Inner certainty is not loud. It does not demand proof or chase evidence. It is calm, settled, and still. It is the subtle yet powerful awareness that what you have imagined is already yours. Even when the senses scream otherwise, even when circumstances contradict it, inner certainty remains unmoved. And that state of unwavering knowing is the cause of all outer change. So many people go through life trying to change the world while remaining unchanged within. They fight against conditions, plead for transformation, or wait for a sign before they believe. But it does not work that way. The mirror cannot show you a smiling reflection if you wear a frown. It cannot show you success if inwardly you feel unworthy. The reflection is faithful. It only reflects what stands before it. But this is why inner certainty is everything. It is the signal to the universe that you are ready, aligned, and already living in the state of your desire fulfilled. When you no longer ask, "Is it coming?" and instead say, "It is already done," you send out a vibration that life cannot ignore. But how do you reach this certainty? You must cultivate it through imagination, repetition, and feeling. You must turn inward and build a relationship with your desired state until it becomes more familiar to you than your doubts. You revisit it each day, not because you are trying to force it to appear, but because you are choosing to live from it now. This is not about blind faith or pretending. It's about stepping into the role of the creator and assuming responsibility for your vibration. You recognize that every outer result you experience is the echo of a former inner state, and that to create something new, you must become someone new within. When doubt arises, you do not panic. You do not chase for reassurance. You simply return to the truth. I have imagined it. I have felt it. It is done. You become still in that knowing. And that stillness is not passive. It is power. In stillness, you align with the deeper rhythm of life that moves all things into place. You are no longer reacting to the world, you are commanding it through your inner state. Certainty does not require control, in fact, it releases control. When you are certain, you don't micromanage. You don't need to see daily signs to stay encouraged. You simply walk in faith, not as someone waiting, but as someone who already knows. You show up differently, you speak differently, you carry yourself with the quiet strength of someone who is already whole. This inner conviction bends reality. It draws in people, events, and opportunities that align with your belief. The world organizes itself around the truth you hold inside, and the stronger that truth becomes, the more naturally and effortlessly it begins to manifest around you. So if you want to change your world, begin by changing the way you feel within. Shift your assumptions. Hold the vision. Cultivate the feeling. And above all, remain still in your knowing. Do not be swayed by appearances or delayed by doubt. Be still, know it is done, and the world will have no choice but to catch up with the certainty that already lives inside you. Everything you've ever desired is already alive in the unseen, waiting for you to claim it. Not with effort, not with struggle, but with feeling. When you assume it's done, when you live from the end, when you no longer beg but rest in certainty, creation becomes effortless. The world bends to your inner state because you are always creating it. Stop asking how and when. Instead, dwell in the feeling that it is already so. Let that feeling become your home. Let that knowing become your reality. Feel it deeply, feel it often, feel it as done, and it must become flesh. Creation begins and ends within. The bridge is feeling, the key is assumption. The power is you. Thank you for listening. If this message stirred something within you, hold it close and return to it whenever doubt tries to speak louder than your faith. Until next time, stay grounded, stay certain, and remember, it is already done. You did not find this by accident. Nothing in your world is random. Everything shows up precisely when it must. And this message, this very moment, is a sign. Your breakthrough has already begun. You may think you are still waiting, still hoping, still climbing. But understand this: what you believe, what you assume, is already shaping itself into form. If you can see the shift, even if only faintly, it means it has already taken place in your unseen world. You do not need to chase, you do not need to strive. The moment you claimed the desire in your imagination, it was done. The only question now is, can you dwell in that knowing? The version of you who has already received the breakthrough is not out there. It is within you now. You must embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Speak as though it's done. Walk as though it's real. Rest in the quiet confidence that it is already accomplished. Because the truth is simple. The world will not show it to you until you show it to yourself. And now that you see it, it is here. Your job is not to make it happen. Your job is to align yourself with the unseen reality already set in motion. Move in faith, not blind faith, but faith in what you have already accepted in your imagination. This moment confirms it, the timing, the message, your inner pull. These are not coincidences. They are echoes from the future telling you it is done. So stand firm. Assume the position of one who has already crossed the line. Don't question the how. Let life orchestrate that. Your only task is to stay faithful to the vision, to live in the feeling of the outcome. You have crossed into a new timeline. A version of you is already celebrating. Now step into it. It's yours. Your world as you know it is not built from the outside in. It is shaped and formed from the inside out. Every condition, every circumstance, every relationship you encounter is but a reflection, a mirror of the dominant assumptions you carry within your own consciousness. It does not matter what others say, what events unfold externally, or what logic dictates. What matters always is what you believe to be true about yourself and your reality. And when that belief changes, the entire world must bend to it. You are not a victim of fate or a puppet of chance. You are the cause. Life does not happen to you, it happens through you. The outer world is like a screen projecting the film of your inner world. If you begin to notice a shift in your reality, even a small one, it is because something inside of you has moved. A silent assumption, a new self-concept, a deep inner acceptance has taken root, and the external is simply catching up. Most people are trapped in the illusion that they must first change what is outside to feel different inside. They chase validation, success, love, and freedom as though these things are out there to be conquered. But the truth is this: nothing changes out there until something shifts in here. The outer reflects the inner, always and without exception. You are looking at your own beliefs, clothed in time and space. You are watching your assumptions made visible. When you begin to assume differently, to truly see yourself as worthy, powerful, chosen, successful, your reality must respond. You will find yourself in new situations, meeting new people, drawing different outcomes, but it won't feel forced. It won't feel like effort, because these things are not attracted, they are reflected. You don't magnetize what you want, you reflect what you are. If you assume lack, life will reflect that to you. If you assume love, life will mirror that back. Not because the universe is judging you, but because your inner world is the blueprint. Your dominant feeling, your sustained mental image, becomes the mold from which your experiences are poured. The law is precise. The mirror does not ask whether you like what you see. It only shows you what you are giving it. This is why inner work is not a luxury, it is the foundation. When you close your eyes and enter the quiet sanctuary of imagination, you are not escaping reality, you are forming it. You are choosing the seeds to be planted, and once planted, they will grow, quietly, steadily, and inevitably. Your job is to assume the harvest is already yours. So if today you feel something has shifted, if you notice new peace, new confidence, or even new discomfort, know that something deeper is taking shape. The outer reflects the inner. That means your breakthrough, your answered prayer, your long-awaited change is not coming, it has already begun. Hold the new assumption, dwell in it, persist in it, for the outer must follow the inner, just as surely as night follows day. Reality does not begin with what your eyes see or what your hands can touch. It begins in a place far more powerful and far more silent, your imagination. Everything that appears solid, real, and external was first conceived in the invisible realm of consciousness. The outer world is only the final stage, the echo of something much deeper. What you accept as true in your imagination, what you entertain, feel, and believe with conviction, becomes the very substance of your experience. This is the great secret that most overlook. Consciousness is not passive. It is the creative force behind all that exists. You are not merely observing life, you are generating it. Every thought accepted as real, every feeling consistently held, every scene vividly imagined in your inner world, weaves itself into the tapestry of your outer life. What you assume to be true becomes true for you, not because of chance, but because your state of consciousness determines the shape and form of your reality. Most people live reactively, believing their circumstances dictate what they are allowed to feel or imagine. But the truth is the exact opposite. Your feelings and imaginings shape your circumstances. When you begin to deliberately accept something as true in your inner world, without needing permission from the outer world, you activate the hidden machinery of creation. Life begins to reorganize around your new assumption. Doors open, people appear, situations shift, not through effort, but through alignment. Your breakthrough does not begin when the money comes, the opportunity lands, or the healing shows up. Your breakthrough begins the moment you believe it already has. That belief, when felt deeply and consistently in the quiet of your soul, sets everything else in motion. It does not matter what appears to be true now. What matters is what you are choosing to make true in your inner world. That is where the real work happens. That is where transformation begins. Imagination is not idle fantasy, it is the blueprint, the creative engine, the spiritual workshop in which all things are first formed. When you use it deliberately, when you close your eyes and live from the reality you desire, feeling it, embracing it, walking in it, then you are laying the foundation for its inevitable appearance. And the stronger your belief, the faster the manifestation. Doubt, on the other hand, delays. When you waver between two opinions, when you wonder whether it's possible or when it will arrive, you interrupt the creative flow. But when you stand firm in the feeling of it already being so, without needing signs or confirmation, you collapse time. You become one with the outcome. Consciousness does not lie. It brings to life what you are loyal to in thought and emotion. The world around you is not happening to you, it is happening through you, by you, for you. Every outcome you see began as a seed in your own mind, and every new desire is a divine nudge, a reminder that you are not limited to what has been, you are always free to choose again. So choose now, choose boldly, accept the new reality in your imagination. Not someday, not when things improve, but now, because the moment you believe it has happened, it has. And the world will rush to prove you right. You are not at the mercy of life. You are not a passive observer in a world that moves without your permission. You are the operant power, the silent, unseen force that shapes and molds every detail of your experience. Nothing is happening to you, everything is happening through you, through your awareness, your belief, your assumptions, and the state of consciousness you occupy day after day. You are not a victim of circumstance, you are the author of it. The world you walk through is not random or chaotic, it is precise, ordered, and obedient to your inner state. This is the law. Whatever you accept as true about yourself, your world, and your life begins to externalize itself with absolute fidelity. Life is not choosing for you, you are choosing for yourself through the quality of your awareness. The phrase "I am" is the root of all creation. Whatever follows "I am" with conviction becomes the foundation of your identity, and from identity springs experience. If you constantly say, "I am stuck," "I am lost," or "I am waiting," then life must organize itself to match that confession. But if you declare and feel, "I am free, I am chosen, I am successful," then a new script begins to unfold. The change doesn't begin in the world, it begins in you. This is why nothing outside of you has ultimate authority, not other people, not the economy, not your past. These are shadows cast by your inner assumptions. The world responds not to what you want, but to what you are, to the state you consistently occupy. And you are always occupying a state. Every moment of the day you are either dwelling in limitation or expansion, in fear or in faith, in lack or in fulfillment. The beauty is this: you have the power to shift your state at any moment. You can decide to no longer identify with the version of you that is waiting, doubting, or struggling. You can move into the awareness of being the person who already has the thing, who already lives in the outcome. who already embodies the reality they once desired. This movement is internal, quiet, and deeply transformative. Understand this. There is no power outside of your own consciousness. All cause is mental. All creation is spiritual before it becomes physical. When you fully grasp that your awareness is the source of all that you experience, you stop begging the world to change and you begin to change within. That is where your true power lies. The moment you shift how you see yourself, your outer world must reflect that shift. If you become aware of yourself as someone who is chosen, worthy, and deeply secure, then people, circumstances, and events will mirror that belief. They have no choice. They are only ever responding to the vibration you are sending out from within. So take back your power. Not with force, not with control, but with awareness, with clarity, with the deep knowing that you are the one writing the script. Life is not happening to you, it is happening through you. And the story it tells depends entirely on who you are being now. Desire is not random, it is not an accident or a fleeting thought that drifts into your mind without meaning. Every true desire that rises within you, one that feels alive, rich, and deeply personal, is a signal from the unseen. It is not something you need to chase. It is a divine blueprint already imprinted upon your inner reality, waiting for your acceptance. The moment you recognize the desire clearly and feel its truth, it is already yours. In the unseen, seed has been planted. You are not desiring something that doesn't exist. You are remembering something that's already yours. The desire itself is the proof that it belongs to you. It would not call you unless it was possible. It would not stir your heart unless the way was already prepared. In fact, the very fact that you can imagine it, feel it, and see it in your mind is evidence that it has already been created for you in the spiritual realm. It waits only for your assumption, your belief, your inner alignment. Too often people treat desire as distance. They say, I want it, but I don't have it. They make the desire something separate from themselves, and in doing so, they delay its arrival. But the truth is the opposite. When a desire emerges, it means the fulfillment is already at hand. The opportunity is already knocking. The path is already unfolding. The only question is, will you say yes to it within yourself? When you accept the desire as done, when you feel the wish fulfilled, when you embody the reality of already having it, you align yourself with the version of you who already lives it. And once you dwell in that state, your world must change to reflect it. The seed that was planted takes root. You do not have to force it to grow. You simply nurture it by staying faithful to the vision. Desire is not to be doubted. It is to be honored. It is not something to fear or suppress. It is the most personal communication between your deeper self and your waking self. When you deny a desire, you deny your own expansion. When you doubt it, you delay your own unfolding. But when you embrace it, when you say, this is mine, you move into harmony with your higher self and the life already prepared for you. You don't need to figure out how it will happen. You don't need to make it logical or convince others. The how is never your concern. Your only task is to feel it real, to accept that what you have seen in your imagination is not fiction. It is a preview. It is a spiritual fact awaiting physical expression. The seed is planted the moment the vision is accepted, and once planted it must grow, if not interfered with by doubt or fear. Stay loyal to your desire. Speak as though it's done. Walk as if it's here. Let it live in you. The moment you felt it deeply was the moment it became real. All you need to do now is remain faithful to what is already yours. You are not here to wish, wait, or chase. You are here to assume, to know, to feel. The secret is not in striving toward your desire as if it is something distant and far away. The secret is in living from it. as if it were already yours. This shift, from hoping it will come to knowing it has come, creates the space for the invisible to become visible. You do not need to force your way to the outcome. You need only to dwell in the state of already being the one who has it. This is what it means to live from the end. It means seeing the world through the eyes of your fulfilled desire, thinking, acting, feeling, and walking as the person who has already received what they once longed for. You are not trying to become, you are already that. And from that state, life begins to arrange itself. Doors open, opportunities arise, people and events appear, not by chance, but because you are now aligned with the version of yourself where the desire is a fact, not a hope. When you live toward the end, you are always in a state of waiting. You delay your good by saying it will happen someday, but someday never arrives. You keep the desire on a pedestal, just out of reach. This creates separation between you and your goal. But when you live from the end, you bring the desire into the present moment. You dissolve the separation, you collapse time. The key is not in outer action, it is in inner acceptance. Feel the reality of your wish fulfilled. Let it be so vivid that your inner world becomes more real than what your senses currently report. The senses will try to tell you it's not here, but your imagination knows better. The world is slow to catch up, but it must catch up. Once the state is accepted, the bridges of events will form naturally to carry you there. These bridges are not something you need to figure out. They appear as everyday situations, conversations, decisions, seemingly small things that move you directly to your desire. You will look back in awe at how seamlessly it all unfolded. But in the moment, your job is not to chase the how. Your job is to remain in the feeling of the end, to mentally and emotionally occupy the state where it is already done. This is not pretending, it is not make-believe, it is spiritual law. Your inner world is the root, the outer is the fruit. All creation begins within. You cannot expect the fruit of a thing to appear before the root is planted and nurtured. And the nurturing is done by dwelling in the state of the wish fulfilled, consistently, quietly, faithfully. So go within, find the feeling, ask yourself, what would I feel right now if it were already true? And then feel that, live that, let that be your dwelling place. From there, everything begins to move. You do not need to fight for your desire. It is already done. You only need to be the one who has received it, and the world will follow your lead. Nothing in the physical world leads your transformation. The signs you long to see, the breakthroughs, the answers, the open doors do not appear first to convince you. They follow. They arrive after the shift has occurred within you. This is why waiting for a sign before believing is a delay. The outer world is never the starting point. The moment you see this message is not a coincidence. It is confirmation. Something inside you has already changed. The signal was sent, the prayer was accepted, now the evidence must come, not to persuade you, but because you have already moved into a new state of being. The world you see is a mirror, not a master. It does not instruct your belief, it reflects it. When you change your state of consciousness, your dominant feeling, your quiet assumption, your inner knowing, the reflection must change as well. But it happens after. Just as your image in the mirror does not smile until you smile, your life does not reveal the sign until you become the person who no longer needs it to believe. This is the great reversal of how most people live. They wait, they look to the outside world and say, I'll believe it when I see it, but that belief system holds everything at arm's length. It keeps you in the state of longing, and longing is not fulfillment, longing is absence. But the moment you shift into the state of having, truly feeling, thinking, and knowing that it is already yours, the world begins to organize itself to reflect that inner truth. The signs follow, they must. When you realize this, You stop looking for confirmation outside yourself. You stop scanning your environment for clues that it's working. Instead, you rest in the deep knowing that it is done. You understand that your inner shift is the only real cause, and the outer must obediently follow its lead. This is not blind faith, it is law. So when you come across a message like this, seemingly at random, no, it is not random at all. You were drawn to it because your inner man already made a decision. You chose a new version of yourself. You began walking in a new assumption. You may not have said it aloud, but something in you rose up and declared, I am ready. That readiness is a shift. That shift is the cause. And now the signs must follow. Don't go searching for evidence, let it come. Don't force the fruit to appear. Trust that it is ripening. The sign will arrive at the appointed hour. Not to convince you, but to celebrate with you. To confirm what your spirit already accepted as true. And you will recognize it when it comes, because you will no longer feel surprised. You will feel peace. It won't feel like a miracle. It will feel natural. That's the power of inner transformation. It turns your desire from a hope into a fact, and from that moment the outer must respond. So stay faithful, stay inwardly loyal to your vision. You do not need a sign to believe. Belief is the sign, and everything else, every result, every opportunity, every blessing follows behind it exactly as it should. You were never waiting for a sign. You were the sign. The moment you felt the desire, the shift had already begun. The outer world is simply catching up to the truth you've dared to accept within. You are not separate from your dream. You are not chasing it. You are it. The end you seek lives within you, and the moment you live from it, not toward it, the bridges of life unfold naturally beneath your feet. You are the operant power. Everything you seek is seeking you, because it already exists within you. Your imagination is not a fantasy. It is the first stage of creation. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you dwell in that state with persistence, the world has no choice but to conform. Signs follow, results appear, doors open. Because you no longer live in doubt, you live in fulfillment. So stand firm, not in effort, but in inner certainty. Remain faithful to the unseen, and watch how naturally life moves to meet you where you already are in consciousness. Saying thanks. Thank you for receiving these words with an open heart. May they remind you of who you truly are and all that is already yours. The shift has begun. Walk in it boldly. There comes a moment in your journey where it seems nothing is changing. The world around you feels stubborn, unmoved. But listen closely. That's the exact moment when the transformation is happening deep beneath the surface. Your desire was not born out of chance. It was born to be fulfilled. The moment you imagined it with conviction, you created it in the unseen. And now, even though your senses may deny it, the invisible structure of your life is being rewritten. When you begin to feel uneasy, don't mistake it as a problem. That discomfort is the old reality being shaken loose. You are shifting. You are evolving. The state you once lived in is cracking because a new state is being prepared for you. Do not retreat. This tension is sacred. When your desire starts to feel more real than what your eyes can see, know this: you are aligned. You are no longer hoping. You are knowing. And in that knowing, you've already entered the end. You walk in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and it becomes your new atmosphere. People around you may change. Some will disappear, new ones will enter. Conversations will seem strange, coincidences will rise, but these are not coincidences. This is the rearrangement. The bridge of incidents is being constructed to carry you from here to there. Let it unfold. Without fear, you'll find yourself not needing to make it happen. That is the clearest sign. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. When you let go of the outcome and dwell in the end, everything begins to flow. You'll realize it's not about forcing, it's about assuming. And yes, sometimes things will delay or break or shift unexpectedly. Don't panic. These are divine adjustments. They're not here to stop you, they're here to prepare you. Stay still in the knowing that your desire is already finished in the unseen. And then, the signs, repeating numbers, dreams, whispers, words overheard at the right time, all of it pointing you forward, all of it confirming what your imagination has already conceived. So I tell you, don't give up. Even if nothing looks different, your manifestation is working. Even if it feels quiet, the universe is not silent, it's precise. Remain faithful to the end you've chosen. Live there, feel there, rest there. Because your assumption, if persisted in, will harden into fact. And when it does, you'll smile. Not in surprise, but in remembrance. Because deep down, you always knew it was yours. There are moments along your journey when you feel unsettled, anxious, even frustrated. You've imagined the life you want. You've declared it, assumed it, and yet the outer world seems unmoved. You wake up with a strange restlessness, a quiet inner discomfort. And here is the truth you must understand, that restlessness is not a sign that things are going wrong. It is not a setback. It is a signal, a spiritual signal that something within you is transforming. You are not who you once were. The moment you conceived a new desire, a life greater, freer, richer, you declared the end of your old identity. And now your consciousness is rearranging itself to make that desire real. But this shift is not without friction. Your old self is dissolving. The version of you that lived in doubt, in limitation, in lack, cannot follow you into the world you've imagined. That self must die, and that death often feels like restlessness. You may feel uncertain, even afraid, because the familiar is falling away. People may pull back. Habits may no longer soothe you. Goals that once made sense now seem hollow. You're not broken, you're being broken open. That anxious vibration isn't telling you to stop, it's telling you to keep going. The soil is being turned so something new can grow. The discomfort is the cracking of the shell. What you are experiencing is the natural unease that comes when the inner world shifts before the outer world catches up. Your body still walks in one world, but your mind, your inner reality, has already stepped into another. The tension you feel is simply the gap between the two. And the more you remain faithful to your imagined end, the more that gap will close. Most people misunderstand this moment. They interpret the anxiety as failure. They begin to doubt. They speak against their desire, and in doing so, they return to the old self. But you know better now. You recognize the restlessness for what it truly is. Evidence that the inner work is unfolding. You are becoming unfamiliar with your past because you are becoming intimate with your future. Don't run from this feeling. Don't numb it. Sit with it. Welcome it. Know that it is not the enemy. It is the labor pain before the birth. The discomfort is holy. It means your thoughts are no longer echoing the life you had, but are starting to vibrate with the life you chose. This feeling will pass, and when it does, you will be on the other side of something sacred. But for now, trust it. Let the inner shaking take place. Let the illusions fall apart. What seems like chaos is the exact process through which order is born. What feels like anxiety is the fire that burns away the old. Remain calm, remain faithful, And most of all, remain in the assumption of the wish fulfilled. For what you desire is not ahead of you, it is within you, and it is already taking form. The restlessness is the sound of walls crumbling. Stay still. Something beautiful is emerging from within. There comes a sacred point in the process of manifestation when the desire no longer feels distant, feels present. It begins to feel so real, so natural, that it overrides what your senses show you. Nothing in the outer world may have shifted yet, but inside you something has already changed. You walk with a quiet certainty. You breathe with an invisible knowing, and this is the sign. Your manifestation is alive. It has moved from imagination into embodiment. When the desire becomes more real than the physical world, it's not because something outside has convinced you. It's because something inside has awakened. You've stepped into the state where you no longer ask when or how. You simply dwell in the feeling of it is done. The desire, once a hope, is now an identity. You don't chase it, you carry it. You don't affirm to make it happen, you affirm because it already has. This inner shift is not loud. It doesn't always come with excitement. In fact, it's often marked by peace. A kind of stillness settles in your soul. The mental effort fades. You stop trying to convince yourself. You no longer need signs or proof, because the proof lives in your assumption. You feel the reality within more powerfully than anything you can see or touch. Your mind stops arguing, doubt loses its grip. And even if challenges arise, even if the world still denies what you know, you are unmoved. Because you've seen it, you've felt it, you've walked in it within. And now your job is not to push or struggle, but to remain, to rest in the knowing that what is felt deeply will harden into fact. This is the true alchemy of manifestation. When the inner reality becomes so dominant that the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. The desire has rooted itself in your being. It no longer visits you as a passing thought. It lives in you, and you wear it like a garment, invisible to others but undeniable to you. The world may still speak of lack, the bank account may still show less, the relationship may still be absent, but you feel full, you feel connected, you feel rich, because what you feel is real. More real than form, more real than conditions. And this feeling is not imagination anymore. It's creation in its purest form. People will not understand this moment. They look at your life and see no change, but they don't need to. The change has occurred where all true change begins, in the unseen. And once the inner shift is stable, once the state is occupied completely, the bridge of incidents will unfold on its own. You will be led, without effort, to the physical confirmation of what you already know. So if your desire feels more real than what's in front of you, rejoice. You have entered the secret. You have crossed the threshold where faith becomes sight. Now don't try to make it happen. Simply live as if it already has. Because in the world that truly matters, it has. The rest is simply catching up. When you begin to dwell in the feeling of your desire already fulfilled, something remarkable happens. Not through force, not through struggle, but quietly, with subtlety. People and circumstances around you begin to shift. It's not always dramatic or obvious at first. It might be a change in someone's tone, a random opportunity, a delay that turns into a blessing, or a chance encounter that opens the exact door you needed. This is the universe, or more precisely consciousness itself, rearranging the outer world to match the inner reality you've chosen to live in. Your assumption, your inner conviction is a seed, and once planted, it must grow. But unlike physical seeds that need sunlight and soil, the seed of assumption grows by feeling, by persistence in thought, by the refusal to entertain the opposite. When you hold your vision firmly and walk through each day with the knowing that it is already yours, life bends to that knowing. People who once ignored you may now notice you. Conversations may arise out of nowhere that guide you toward your desire. Opportunities may fall into your lap, but none of this is random. None of it is coincidence. The world is not separate from your mind. It is your mind pushed out. And the moment you change the arrangement within, the world must obey. The faces, the events, the outcomes, all begin to dance to the rhythm of your dominant assumption. But here's the beauty. It does not require your conscious management. You do not need to figure out how it will unfold. You are not responsible for the construction of the bridge. Your only role is to occupy the state, to persist in the feeling of being the person who already has what they desire. And when you do that, the world becomes clay in the hands of that new identity. Sometimes, this rearrangement will look like loss. Certain people may fall away, plans may get cancelled. What once felt stable may crumble. Do not fear this. The old structure must fall to make way for the new. When something exits your life during this shift, it is because it cannot follow you into your chosen state. Every ending in this phase is preparation. Every delay is redirection. And every detour is sacred. You are not at the mercy of random events. You are the cause, and when your inner reality changes, the outer world, like a mirror, cannot help but reflect it. This is why persistence is key. Because even when nothing looks different, the shift is already in motion. The people, the calls, the emails, the opportunities, all are being moved into position. You are not being tested, you are being aligned. The world is not resisting you, it is responding to you. And when you feel the desire as already done, when you live in the end, then reality must conform to that end. It may arrive quietly, it may come wrapped in disguise, but it will come. So when people change, when doors open, when delays occur, recognize what's happening. Your world is rearranging. Stay in your assumption. Remain faithful to your vision and allow the divine choreography to unfold exactly as it must. There comes a point in your manifestation journey where you stop asking, stop doubting, stop looking for signs, and you simply let go. But not because you gave up, not because you lost faith. You let go because you finally understand. It's already done. The desire that once felt so distant now feels close, familiar, like something that belongs to you. And in that quiet realization, the urge to control disappears. The need to chase, to beg, to force outcomes, it all dissolves. You don't let go by effort. You let go by knowing. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting your desire. It means no longer identifying with the version of you who lacks it. You no longer operate from the energy of lack, fear, or impatience. You don't search for evidence that it's coming, because in your heart, you've already received it. You walk in the world as if the thing you once wanted is already part of your life, and because of that, you stop trying to make it happen. You rest in the state of being. This is not detachment in the cold, indifferent sense. This is detachment through embodiment. You've so thoroughly accepted the reality of your desire that you no longer obsess over its arrival. Your mind is calm. Your spirit is light. You may still take action, but the action is inspired, not desperate. It flows from confidence, not from fear of missing out. Letting go happens naturally. When your imagination becomes more compelling than your senses, you've rehearsed the end so many times in your mind, felt the joy, the gratitude, the relief, that it becomes more real than what your eyes can see. You don't check the physical world for confirmation because the confirmation lives within. You stop needing reassurance because you've already assumed the identity of the one who has it. In this state, even the waiting feels different. Time is no longer your enemy. You're not counting days or watching the clock. Instead, you're living in alignment with your fulfilled desire, enjoying the unfolding without tension. You begin to see that control was always an illusion. The more you tried to force outcomes, the more resistance you created. But now, by surrendering the how and when, you've opened the path for the manifestation to arrive in the most perfect and unexpected way. You've stepped back, and in doing so, you've allowed the deeper intelligence of life to orchestrate what your limited mind never could. People may notice something different in you. You seem lighter, more peaceful, not because everything has changed on the outside, but because everything has shifted within. You no longer speak from a place of needing, you speak from a place of having, and the world responds to that vibration. So if you find yourself no longer desperate, no longer checking, no longer grasping, don't question it. Celebrate it. That stillness, that peace, is the greatest sign of all. You are no longer trying to get it. You are living as if it's already yours. And because of that, it must come. It often happens when you've committed fully to your desire, when you've been dwelling in the feeling of it already being yours, that life begins to test the firmness of your inner stance. Unexpected delays arise. Things that seem to be moving forward suddenly pause. Opportunities that look promising vanish without explanation. People may act out of character. Circumstances may feel like they're working against you. But understand this deeply, these are not blocks. These are not signs that your manifestation is failing. These are purifications, sacred adjustments that test and strengthen your alignment with the unseen reality you've claimed. The moment you declare that something is already yours, life begins to respond. But it doesn't always do so in a straight line. Instead, it begins to remove what doesn't belong to the version of you who has already received. The delays you encounter are not punishment. They are precision. They are removing interference, reshaping the path, and refining you in the process. You are being asked one question. Will you remain faithful to your vision even when the world gives you every reason to doubt? That is the test. That is the purification, not of your worth, but of your awareness. Are you embodying the state of the one who already has it? Or have you slipped back into being the one who is waiting? These obstacles are mirrors. They reflect to you the areas where your faith still wavers, where you still cling to fear or control. But they're also invitations. Every delay is an opportunity to respond as the fulfilled version of yourself, to feel the truth of your desire even when nothing visible supports it. And when you do that, when you remain still in the storm, something powerful happens. The old state breaks, and the new state becomes dominant. Most people run when faced with these disruptions. They declare it's not working. They shift their assumptions back to lack and uncertainty. And in doing so, they return to the very state they were trying to escape. But you understand now that the obstacle is not in the way, it is the way. It is the proving ground where your conviction is solidified. When delays happen, when things fall apart or seem to stall, ask yourself, how would I feel if it were already mine? Then return to that feeling. Rest in that identity. Refuse to be shaken by appearances, because appearances are temporary, but states are eternal. The physical world is only ever catching up to what has already been accepted within. Trust the timing. Trust the silence. Trust even the struggle, for it is polishing you. It is removing the residue of your former self. You are being shaped not just for the desire, but into the person who can sustain and enjoy it. The wait is not idle. It is transformative. So when the delays come, stand tall in the unseen. Speak from the fulfillment. Walk from the outcome. And know that nothing is lost, only refined. The manifestation has not left you. It is being prepared for perfect arrival. All you must do is hold the inner stance. It is already done. As you persist in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled, something mysterious begins to unfold around you. Without effort, without planning, signs begin to show up. Repeating numbers on clocks and license plates, meaningful songs on the radio, random conversations that speak directly to your situation. Dreams grow vivid, sometimes surreal, but undeniably symbolic. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. They are echoes of your inner world, showing up in the outer to remind you the unseen is responding. When you begin to dwell consistently in a new state of being, the version of you who already has, who already is, the outer world must follow. But before the full physical manifestation arrives, you are often shown signs. These signs are not to convince you. You don't need to be convinced if you are truly in the state. Rather, these signs are reflections of the alignment you've already cultivated. They mirror the frequency you're operating from. Repetitive numbers like 111, 222, or 555 may begin to appear with strange frequency. Each time you look at the time, the same digits greet you. These numbers carry meaning only because your consciousness is tuned into them. You notice them now because your awareness is sharper, more connected. Your inner eye is open. You're no longer looking outward for validation. You're seeing outward from the truth you've accepted within. And then there are the dreams. You may dream of arriving at a destination, receiving a message, or being handed something you've longed for. Even if the dream seems nonsensical on the surface, it leaves you with a strong emotional residue, a sense that something is already happening, already near. These dreams are your subconscious processing and aligning with the new identity you've chosen. They're a sign that your inner world is being reordered to match your desire. Synchronicities also begin to multiply. You think of a person and they call. You speak of something and see it moments later. These occurrences are not magic tricks. They are the natural consequence of a mind in tune with its higher self. The world around you is reflecting your dominant assumption, and the more you dwell in the more frequent these signs become. It's important not to chase these signs. They are not the source, you are. The signs follow the assumption, not the other way around. If you begin to look for signs to feel secure, you shift back into the state of not having. But when you remain confident and steady in your knowing, the signs will flow freely, like leaves carried on the wind of your belief. Let them come. Let them delight you. Let them gently remind you that you are not alone, that the unseen forces of reality are moving in harmony with your desire. But stay rooted in your inner conviction. The signs are beautiful, but they are just footprints leading to the fulfillment that already exists within you. So smile when they appear. Whisper thank you when the dream visits. Take it as a nod from the universe, a wink from your deeper self, and know that the bridge of events is building quietly, precisely, perfectly. Your assumption is alive, and all of reality is beginning to echo it. All manifestation begins within. Your inner state, what you consistently assume to be true, is the architect of your outer reality. When you feel the desire as done, when you walk in the unseen as if it was seen, the world around you begins to shift in response. Inner restlessness signals transformation. The desire becomes more real than what your eyes can observe. People and events align not by effort, but by the silent force of your conviction. You begin to release the need to control, because your spirit already knows. It is yours. Even the delays are not denials. They are divine adjustments. And the signs, the numbers, the dreams, They are not random. They are reflections of the reality you have already chosen to live. Do not waver, do not look to the world for proof, look within and remain in the knowing. Because if you can hold the feeling, the outer must conform. Your assumption, your belief is the cause. And once accepted, it is only a matter of time before the invisible becomes visible. Sincerely, thank you for listening. Stay faithful to the unseen, live from the end, and let your world reflect the greatness you've already imagined.